In our previous class, we have seen how we can be able to install MySQL Workbench on our system, as well as starting our connections. So today we are going to use this MySQL Workbench to create a database, drop a database, as well as creating a table within this database. Follow me in this video. Look at how we can be able to create a database, drop database, create table, drop table, and then in our MySQL Workbench, we first of all try to launch our connections. So while this connection is on, we adjust this, and as we are seeing at it, as we are looking at this very environment, this is your connection tab, which is showing the name of the connection. This is the main menu, as just as your office main menu, and these are the properties of each menu you have selected. So this is the SQL environment where you can be able to type in your SQL command and so forth and so on. So, and this is your navigation administration, where you can be able to see your server status. You look at your connections and whatever, if you are on if you are on administration. But if you are on schemas, this is where you can be able to see the multiple database that are linked to this MySQL Workbench. So at present, as you can see, we have CSC 313 multi-vendor, and we have the system. So we might, if we create something here, we might decide to come to this point and then try to refresh it and see if there is any newly created database also. So, and this is what we are going to use in opening our scripts. This is what we use for saving. This is what we use if you want to execute a certain line of our SQL command. This is what we use for executing. Sorry, this is what we use for executing the whole commands at a time. This is for single command where your cursor ends. And this is if you want to execute anything that you want to explain further. So these are the SQL additional information. So if you want to have any content here, so you can come to for help. So, and this is your output information. Everything you've typed here is coming back to this place. So if there is any error, it's also coming back to this place. So, and as we have seen in our first video while installing our MySQL Workbench, we've seen that we are going to use this syntax, like we type create, then we type this database, and then we also type the name of the database, and the name of the database here is CSC 313. So for instance, now this is what we type. If you want to run it, we can execute it here, and we see now this error message returned is like create database CSC 313, like cannot create this database because it's already it's already in existence, so it cannot go further and create it. So the only thing, you need to drop this database for it to for it to be able to have another database to be created with this. So let's assume we have known how we can be able to create this. Let's see how we can be able to drop this database as well. So to drop this database, we can use the drop keyword called database. Then we now say the database name. What is the database name? CSC 313. So we end this statement also, and then run this. So we see now it tick green, right? And this is the time. Within just these seconds, we'll be able to 0 rows affected. Within 0.047 seconds, we have been able to delete this. So if you come back to this and refresh, you see our CSC 313 database is no longer there. So, but if we come back to this, that's one good thing with MySQL Workbench. We can come back to this and then hit this run again. So once we hit this run, you see now 1 row affected, because we have been able to successfully create this database. So, and this is how we go about this. So you can click on this to see the tables, the view, and whatsoever. But for the purpose of this class, we are not after using wizard to create table and what have you here, but we are going to use the raw SQL command in doing such a wonderful job in this very sessions. So next thing we are going to do here is we are going to create a table. We are going to create a table under this under this database called CSC 313. So for us to what? For us to be able to use this database, we must use this use CSC 313. We must adopt use, because if you see here, there is nothing like bold selection here. So but if you type this, you now run it, you've seen now this is selected, right? It's boldly selected. Now it means that you are telling my SQL workbench that you want to affect, or you want to alter this CSC 313 database. So whatever you are going to do now, either on top here or below, it means you are doing it inside your CSC 313 database. So what we are going to do next, we want to create a database. We want to create a table inside this database. And the table that we are creating a single table with a multiple name. And the table we are going to create here is going to be a table with what? Well, a table name called PyPerson. So we can use this create table. Now the name of the table, now we use this create please. It's not necessary capital letter or small letters, but you just need to be consistent. So I just choose to be working with capital letters where we have our keywords. So we have create table here, then we have the name of the table where we are going to name it person. Are we together? So we open our bracket, we now enter our hit our enter key. So here we are going to have something like, we need a primary key, you know, we need a primary key, we need a last name, we need first name. So for us to have a primary key, we might decide to have person ID, right? Person ID as our primary key. And this, we are going to use a syntax called data type. That is the primary key name, the data typed, and then the keyword called primary key. And this primary key can be what? Can be auto select, or can be auto select, or auto increment, or just like that. So you might decide to enter your statement here, or you put your primary keys should be auto increment. So you've seen it here, it can pick, but we want to have it as small letters. So if you want to pick it, you could just hit your enter key, and then you end this statement as well. So you have another one here called, you might decide to use, sorry, this is not safe. Actually, it's not safe. So we are going to use another one called last name. Are we together? So our last name can contain something about data types, can be a varchar. So you see now, this is different from other programming language where you can use the you can use the string and whatsoever. So for the string or for the strings, you can use a varchar or varchar. So it depends. So for the varchar now, that's the data type. You have created what? The name of the data here, the name of the field. Then the data type can be a varchar. Then you are what? The size you want your varchar to contain, you want your last name to contain. So by default it's going to be 255. So but we might decide to say 50. So it cannot contain anything more than 50. So here we might decide to just have it here. Then we have first name. Are we together? So we have another one called address if possible. So we have a city, LGA. So here now, if this is the last field you want to create here in this table, the last one cannot contain the comma. So you remove the comma, you close your bracket, and then you type your semicolon. So with this, you can be able to just hit on this run. Let's see what will happen. So boom, this is what we have, and this is the end of creating. You see now, it's created this very table where if we want to check this very table, we can be able to see the table as they are. So this is the table. So we might decide to have this, and then let's refresh this also. So for us to see this table, we can be able to have it like so. You see now, for us to be able to see this table, we can decide to have select from this select all fields in the table, all fields from pacing. This is what we want to look at. Sorry, this is not what I want to. This is what I want to have. So this there is an arrow here. Select from is what is this selection explain select pacing does not exist. Are we together? Because this does not create the table. Let's create this table and see. So you've seen now we have created this table, right? So since we have created this table now, we can come back to this and see how we can be able to what show this table again. So you see now with this, we've been able to see what is contained in the table. We have person, we have last name, we have first name, we have address, and we have local government. So this is how we'll be able to create this table. So in the next class, we are going to see how we can add values to this table, how we can be able to filter the values in each table, and so on and so forth. Thank you for being with us.